anti-fraud statute in the state. And it's a good statute. It gives me the power to go after people when they rip off our citizens, big companies out of the state, scam artists here in the state, whoever it is, we can go after them. When I took office, there was an exemption, a loophole. And you know who it applied to? The only major type of businesses to whom our fraud statute did not apply were banks and mortgage companies. We're talking about the country being in the worst mortgage fraud crisis in history, and our state's Attorney General and our office, our Department of Justice, cannot go after crooked banks or crooked mortgage companies that are ripping people off and holding them accountable because there was an exemption in that statute. Now, we went and with support of Democrats and even some Republicans, we got a bill through the legislature to close that loophole. And that is a huge step. I will tell you, since that law has been passed, we've gone after all kinds of crooked mortgage companies. Some of them we've charged them criminally, some we've gone out and sued them, banned them from doing business in the state. Dan's opponent voted against that bill. And I will tell you, there's not anything you can say about that other than banks and mortgage companies ought to follow the same laws that this deli follows, that every single other business up and down this Main Street follows. It's a very simple law. It says you can't mislead people, lie to people, and steal their money. And Dan supports that principle and would have voted for it, and his opponent didn't. And that'll just tell you on things like the environment and consumer protection, Dan is going to make a huge difference when he is there in our state senate. So that's reason number one. These votes matter. We need someone with the right values to vote. Right. Number two, very important, we are going to be facing a huge budget crisis next time around when the legislature meets in the new year. And I don't mean to be grim, but it is going to be a challenge because we don't have enough money. We're going to have to make some very tough decisions. And if you spent any time with Dan, I think it's probably the single, when I first sat down with him to talk about his race, the single thing that was most impressive to me is the depth of his commitment to education in our community. There are going to be people who are going to want to cut education and cut it dramatically in this next budget crisis. And you know, whatever we do, investing in education is the future of our state. It would be madness to let a temporary budget crisis lead us to gut our schools. It would be madness. But I got to tell you, things are already, it's not like we're spending way too much on schools. My school that my 11-year-old goes to, you could not have better teachers than our school. My school's got, the depth of their commitment to helping to educate my son is just unbelievable. But the school is dead broke. I'll give you an example. When my wife and I were throwing out my old bachelor tin silverware, the cheapest, ugliest stuff. I was thinking, I was bundling it up to take it to Goodwill, and my wife said, no, you can't do that. We don't have any forks and spoons in the school. That's what the reality of where we're funding our schools is right now. It's only going to get worse unless we have real champions for education. You should talk to Dan about his commitment to education in Oregon because it is deep, it is lasting, and having him there to help us protect education in the next legislative session is reason enough to make sure we get this man elected. Reason number three, and this is sort of big picture. Sarah can tell you about this. In the last couple sessions in Salem, we've had a whole new generation of new leaders in the state legislature, both in the House and the Senate. They tend to be younger candidates with new ideas and a new perspective and a huge amount of energy. And I can tell you, it is like night and day when you see the energy and the intellect and the excitement and the passion they have brought to state government. It is like night and day. And you look at our state, and we have huge challenges. Our progress on the environment is stalled, and in some places we're going backwards. Education is really threatened in the state. We're not creating enough jobs. You really have to make some changes. You have to make some changes. And I have to tell you, to get another young, passionate, aggressive leader like Dan in the state legislature will be a huge, huge boon for all of us. So I just want to urge you to do two things today. One is, Dan is going to win because of grassroots effort. That is a simple fact. Some people say grassroots politics doesn't work. I just have to tell you, I would not be Attorney General if it wasn't for grassroots effort. I know that's the case. We're not going to win these races unless we're out there calling people and knocking on doors. We only have a couple weeks left before this election is over. The ballots are coming out now. And for everyone here, if you care about Dan, you care about the future of the state, we need everyone to volunteer some time. 3 times. You've got a couple of weeks here. Try to volunteer 3 times for Dan. Spend a couple hours talking to your neighbors or calling them on the phone. You guys have got clipboards to sign volunteers up? Yeah. Find those guys, get signed up, take some time to do it. It will make all the difference. The voters, they tune out these ads, a lot of them. The biggest thing that will have an impact is talking with another concerned neighbor, one-on-one. That'll be the biggest, most important connection. If you call someone or knock on their door, that'll be the most important connection they will have during this entire election. And you will change minds. You will get people to vote who would not vote. You will get people to vote for the right candidates because they see that you are concerned enough about our state and our community to get out there and to be doing this. So I urge you to do that. The other thing is Dan is going to need some money coming down the home stretch. And that money is for 2 things. One of it is to buy some time on TV and radio so he can reach those people who only get their news through TV and radio. And there are, unfortunately, for some people, they're a little bit disengaged from public life. That's where they get all their information. We have to reach these people. It's also, we got to buy the stuff we're going to put in your hands when you go door to door to hand out. And so Dan's staff has got envelopes. And I want to ask everyone here today, do not leave without filling out an envelope and making a campaign contribution. Do not leave without doing that. You may think, look, all I have is $5. If you've got $5 you can spare, fill out the envelope and give it to Dan because it makes an enormous difference. All of us, look, they got his opponent got a $325,000 check from Lauren Parks, kooky right-wing businessman that doesn't even live in the state anymore. He lives in Nevada. He lives in Nevada, and he wrote a $325,000 check for the Republican Senate. And we don't have, thank God, kooky right-wing, out-of-state folks to write $325,000. What we have is you. And if all of us write a small check, we write a $50 check or a $100 check, or make a $5 or a $10 contribution, if everyone does that, we will have the money we need to fight back. So please, grab an envelope. Where do you guys go?